This is Naomi Ackerman, coming to you from the Advot offices in Los Angeles, California. Advot is a local nonprofit that uses theater to empower youth to find and use their voices. With Advot, I have spent over a decade working inside the walls of the Los Angeles juvenile lockup facilities, or juvie as it's called in slang. When I started this work, I would drive every Thursday to teach the ripple process. Today, Advot teaches over a dozen classes in multiple sites in LA County. I have had the privilege of meeting the most extraordinary youth inside the walls. Thursday in Juvie is where it started. I invite you to grab a cup of coffee or tea, take a little walk, and listen. Listen to the voices of these beautiful people. First, through a story I tell about my experiences teaching, followed by a remarkable interview with system-impacted individuals who have all changed their lives and are inspiring beyond measure. I'm so happy you chose to join us today to experience the power of love, forgiveness, redemption, and change. This is Thursdays in Juvie, and now, the show. Change can and will come through love and devotion. I constantly have the opportunity inside the walls to examine and re-examine my life and what's inside my heart through the lens of the youth I'm working with. I believe by looking inside these kids' hearts, allowing them to talk, share, and tell us how they feel, we're creating a space for them to heal and become their best self. In the warm-up I do with the youth, I use music. I try to use the music the kids like. That music is far from the music that I listen to. I once shared some musical theater music with the girls. They thought it was the stupidest shit that they had ever heard. One girl said that it's like the singers are vomiting their feelings into the song. I told them that sometimes singing your feelings can be powerful. And the next week, a kid shared a song about her feelings. They might not have liked the music, but the idea of expressing how you feel in a song worked. The heart. There is a story I tell the girls in the Listen, Act, Change curriculum. It's a story I learned through the Center of Nonviolent Communication. I'll shorten it a little and tell it to you. It's about a person who says that they have the perfect heart. They stand up in the middle of town and tell everyone, "Look at my heart. It is the most beautiful heart in the world. It is flawless and has the most amazing form, shape, and color." Everyone oohs and ahs and agrees. That's the most beautiful heart in the world. Indeed, it is the most perfect heart they had ever seen. A very old person who is a little disheveled, limping, walks over and starts to laugh and says, "That's ridiculous. If you want to see a perfect heart, look at this." And then they reveal their torn, tattered, jagged-edged heart. Everyone gasps. The young person is astonished. "That?" they say. "You think that is a perfect, beautiful heart? You are delusional." The old person, with the sweetest eyes and a warm smile, says, "Yes, this is a perfectly beautiful heart. For this is a heart that has loved. It has broken. It has healed. Pieces have been torn out to be given to others, only to have holes left because love was not returned. Other places have pieces of love that were given but didn't match. There are places that hope tore through. There are wounds of hurt as well as pieces of joy. This is a heart that lived. This is a perfect heart. It has loved. It isn't perfect. That's what makes it perfect. It has fallen, it has gotten up, and yet it is still beating strongly. This is a beautiful heart. The young person with tears in their eyes walks over to the old person, pulls a piece of their perfect heart out, and places it over one of the jagged edges of the old person's heart. You are right. Your heart is beautiful, and now my heart is perfect. I tell the girls that we are and can only be the whole of our brokenness. We are our pain and our heartbreaks, and we must recognize our mistakes, recognize the love we gave and the love we received or didn't receive, even if it hurts. It typically gets really quiet. I can see them thinking about what I just said. I then ask them to draw their hearts and what's in them. The pictures they draw are heartbreaking, heartwarming, and heart-expanding all at the same time. So much pain and so much sorrow. No one heart should have all of that, especially at such a young age. One heart was particularly amazing. I have it framed in my office till today. It was a big red heart that had a tree with a swing growing out of it. I asked them to share one thing that gives their heart joy. When I was loved by a guy that I was in love with, when my baby was born, when I am with my family, when I'm with my friends. Then I asked them to write one good choice they made, because after seeing their breaking hearts, I want them to see the good in themselves. Going back to school, helping my mom, when I didn't run from the police, even when I had a chance to. And then I got fucking arrested. Not doing drugs for a year. We eat a snack while we are writing. One girl is busy choosing music and playing it in the background. They each can request one song at the beginning of our time together, and then I download all the songs into my phone. Each week, we listened to different songs. God help me if anybody looks at the playlist on my phone. I noticed that this one girl is so busy with the music, she isn't doing the writing exercise. Hey, what about your heart? What about the writing exercise? I ask her. You're not doing it. Hey, don't come at me like that, she responds. Like what? Being mad and all. I'm not mad, I answer. I need your words to be able to write the play that we're doing in the end. Girl, without your words, I have no words, I say. She's quiet, so I add, I'm not mad, I'm just frustrated. Miss, are you sure you want my words? She says that very quietly. I'm positive. You're so busy being a DJ for the music that you didn't do what I need you to do. I really, really need your words. She laughs. You want my words? And really? You think I can be a DJ? And she giggles a little bit more. My heart, miss? My heart is happy. She leaves the music on my phone and goes to write the exercise. My heart sighs. What am I going to do with these kids? There's music, there's food, there's art, and our hearts are out on display. It's warm and calm, and for a moment, we all forget where we are. It's time to end the session. I went a good 30 minutes overtime. Luckily, the probation officer with me today was kind. Where else do they have to go? She shrugs when I ask to go overtime. Stay as long as you like. And then she went back to texting on her phone. I gather the girls together for a final circle. There's a good feeling. Our hearts are full. I didn't ask them to, but when we stood in the circle, they all held hands. Someone asks, are we going to pray? No, I say. We're just going to close the session. Can I sing? One asks. Of course. Sing this song, sing that song. Several of them have suggestions and requests. Our singer quietly says, I want to sing something I wrote last night. She sings, I have to bite my tongue because I could potentially break down sobbing. A tear sneaks out of my eye. My girls are always amused when I cry. They think it is hilarious and touching. I think it makes them feel good that someone can get and be emotional about or because of them. It can also make them a little uncomfortable, but for most of them, it's actually shocking that anyone could or would cry from something they say or do. Ooh, I can see your heart, miss, one says. Oh, my heart, my aching heart. But as the old person in the story said, a heart that has hurt and has been broken can be and will always be stronger. I ask her to sing again. Her voice is sweet, beautiful, deep, and emotional. She sings with big, brown, sad eyes, and her eyes go straight to my heart. Behind these cold walls, I found myself. Some people aren't so lucky to get to know themselves at all. It takes some folks a blink before death to see that they had a purpose after all. So please, go, find yourself before the wrong thing does. I stand very close to her and tell her very quietly how good it is that she used her time here to write such an inspiring and beautiful song. That, I say, was an excellent choice. I hug her and say again, an excellent choice. And I say that again because I have no other words. My heart is confused. What a magnificent song. What a horrible situation. My heart is aching and proud, all at the same time. Can I have a copy of the heart story, miss? Of course. And I give her the one I printed out to read. It's a good story, miss. It's a little like my song. Maybe when our heart is broken, there's a purpose. Maybe, I say. But let's work on not getting it broken, okay? You got it. She smiles the most radiant smile. And suddenly, my broken heart is whole. Stick around as I speak to one of my former students who has transformed themselves and their lives. I promise you, you will be inspired. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast to receive notifications about new shows. Join the Advot Ripple. Make a contribution today. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I could not be happier to introduce one of my all-time favorite students. Shh, don't tell anybody. Maria Lugo. I am so honored and happy to have you on this podcast.
Thank you.
We bring onto the podcast champions and heroes and people that I think will inspire, and you inspire me every day. You know, this podcast, Thursdays in Juvie, is about telling stories of young people and women that I've met in the juvenile lockup facilities at Camp Scudder. But I also have the privilege of working at Homeboy and meeting older, maybe not older, I like to call it seasoned women like you. And, you know, I know that you are in and out of the system for many years. So you have such a beautiful story. We could probably be on the podcast for many hours. But if there are two things that you would like to share from just your story right now, like think of two highlights from this big life and story that you had, could you share them with us?
Two things that I would like to share that, you know, from the beginning, when I first started getting in trouble as a teenager, as a little girl, and, you know, how it went up to being into more serious, more critical situations. But what I would like to share to the young girls, right now that they're in juvenile hall, or that they're locked up right now in a juvenile detention center. I would like to go ahead and tell them to be, advise them to be more careful with the choices that they make, with the decisions that they go ahead and take, and because every action has a consequence, good or
Mm.
bad, it has a consequence. So I want them to be more aware of who, of what they're doing with themselves, as to their lives, where what direction they're taking, what direction, what do they want, what they want to do, what do they want to be. Because I know that when I was in that situation, all I thought was about gangs, drugs, and that's it, because that's all I knew. I came from a
Mhm.
dysfunctional family, and that's all I knew. And I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that a lot of these children, or these young ladies, come from the same background that I did. But it's a cycle that needs to be broken. It's a cycle that we have to go ahead and break, so our next generation doesn't do the same and
Oh
fall
my
into
gosh.
the
Yeah.
same thing. And
Yeah.
it continues like a revolving door. And and it's horrible, because there's they're children. They're children that are incarcerated already. And I
Yeah.
remember it, but certain current events will go ahead and place you there, because sometimes that's the only place that you have that you'll feel safe at, instead of
Yeah.
running the street and and getting involved and having going through experiences that they shouldn't be, the trauma and everything else that comes with a gang life.
Yeah. I I mean, I know that you were locked up when you were younger. I also know you were locked up also as an adult, right? Like
Mhm.
that also is part of your trajectory. And
Yes.
I saw the last part of your transformation, which was just glorious and magnificent. And what do you think? What would you say was happen? What happened to had to happen to you in order to make that change? Because literally, like you went from A to Z, like you
Yes.
changed completely. What helped that? What helped that happen to you?
I had it, I had to hit rock bottom,
Mm.
where I lost everything. I lost my family, I lost my dignity, I lost my self-respect, I lost myself, I lost reality. I was disconnected from life itself. So everything that I knew and valued, I lost to my addiction. I lost to my alcoholism, to the lifestyle, because you get addicted to the lifestyle as well. And so I had to hit rock bottom, and I stayed right there rock bottom for several years before before I had that moment of clarity. Not only that, but my children were praying for me as well. I have a son that's very active in church, and he always, him and his family always had me in prayer, and they would go look for me where I was at. And I
Mm.
would be selfish, and and I'm like, as long as I'm not knocking at your door asking you for money or anything else, I'm good. Yeah, mom, but I don't want to see you like this. And I would get embarrassed for them to see me in the condition that they see me, in the state of mind that I'd be in. So
Mhm.
that's why I would stay away. But that moment, just that moment of clarity, that you get tired, you hit rock bottom, and you go ahead and run the streets until until you become numb. And once you
Mhm.
become numb, it's like, what do you do if nothing else is working for you no more? You start thinking like, wow, like, I think I need to go ahead and change my life around. I think I need to go ahead and ask for help. I'm like, because I know God has something better for me than this. You know what I mean? I know that there was that I have a purpose in life. And I had that, just that moment of clarity. And I remember that I called a friend, and he helped me get into rehab. And ever since then, I've been clean. So it's been already 3 years. Been 3 years that I've been clean and sober. And I haven't looked back. I haven't gone back. I haven't, desired to go ahead and even entertain the thought of going back to where, God rescued me from. And,
Mm.
but yeah, it's like I had to hit rock bottom, where I didn't have nothing. I didn't have no sense of value. I didn't have no. I didn't have either. I didn't even have hope.
Mm.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you. I even in your story, you reached out to someone. I know that, I mean, I believe, first of all, I believe in having faith. I believe in community, right? Like you need people to help you get out of these situations.
Yes.
And I love that you said I had to call someone and they took me to rehab. And I know that with the girls and we also work with boys that we work with, sometimes they don't even have someone to pick them up when they get out, right?
Yes.
Or someone to bring them just a pack of underwear or deodorant.
Exactly.
So one of the things that I'd like in this podcast is to kind of wake community up and wake people up, because we don't need, we need little things. I don't think we need huge things. I mean, we'll also take huge things, but what would you say, what kind of support can you try and articulate and say, like, what are things that you would want or you'd like to see people like in the community, maybe people who listen to this podcast?
What helped me, that my community gave me, and my community is here at Homeboys. They gave me the kinship. They embraced me. They loved me. They showed me how to love myself. They gave me the spiritual, the emotional, and physical support. Because even though, God had a purpose and had a plan for me to go to rehab, I didn't know what was I going to do after rehab. And my roommate that I had in rehab, I bumped into her and she told me about Homeboy, so I came. And ever since then, it's like, so Homeboys has been there for me. Homeboys has been a part of my walk. First God and then Homeboys. And both of them have been, yes, both of them have been, a part of my walk, and they've helped me get back on my feet, and they've helped me to go ahead and value myself and look at myself as a person, and that I have a meaning, that I have value, that, I'm not going to let society or, the situations where I grew up go ahead and devalue me or dictate how I'm going to be, how I'm going to go ahead and overcome the generation of being in this dysfunction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of dysfunction in our families, because a lot of us, everybody here has dysfunction. And so, I want to be a success. I want to be an overcomer. I want to go ahead and be, I want to have, potential to go ahead and be able to achieve and have aspirations of doing more and being an example for the person next to me, for the ones that are looking behind me, and just, instilling and empowering the young girls and the young men as well, that they have a purpose and they have value. Just because they run around, they messed up, they made a mistake, the majority can be, can go ahead and be corrected. And it's for them to go ahead and think like, this didn't work for me, so why am I going to continue to go on and do that? So try something different. And the thing is that when we think about doing something different, we get intimidated because we don't know anything else but the dysfunction. So we get intimidated to go ahead and reach out for help. We get intimidated to do something different. We get intimidated to go to school and better ourselves. We get intimidated by other people that might sound like they know more educated, more eloquent in how they speak. But it doesn't mean that they can't teach themselves, that they can't learn how to go ahead and get up to that level and be where that people is at. So it's like totally. They can go ahead and overcome their obstacles. They can go ahead and overcome what they have in front of them. They can go ahead and overcome any self-doubt, any insecurities, any self-sabotage, because we do that a lot. We self-sabotage ourselves a lot, and we don't give ourselves the opportunity to grow. We don't give ourselves the opportunity to go ahead and bloom and flourish. And we don't give ourselves an opportunity to see what we can do, to see how far we can go.
Yeah.
To go ahead and let our our skill, our talents that we have inside come out, because we all have gifts. We're all good at something, and we need to go ahead and go ahead and and thrive on that.
Yeah, no, well, I'm like getting emotional listening to you talk. I need to say a few comments. Number one, you are not going to be successful. You are successful. You are fulfilling a purpose. I want to add that even in your biggest darkness and unclarity or certainty, what you gave me, you are always so positive and grateful. And I remember when you were waiting for your housing, you had
Yes.
every reason in the world to be angry. And I so appreciate, like, you just had so much faith and so much patience. And that taught me a lesson, right? Like, you don't have to come from a background of addiction to have a dysfunctional family. You don't have to come from a background of incarceration to not bloom in your full potential. It's even harder, but the things that you're saying is, there's such an important message for everybody. And what I want to add to that is that your disposition and your attitude are just beautifully brilliant. And you were, they put you through a ringer until you got your housing.
Right.
You waited patiently. And you were, what I also love, and I think if we think about the messages that we want for community, do what you can. You moved into the house, and I'm going to share this. We at Advot helped get some furniture, and you were so humble.
Yes.
You went to this place to get the furniture, and she didn't want to take all of it. Like, they were saying, take all of it. And she was like, no, but there might be other people that need it. And to me, that's godly personalities, right? Because someone else would have come and said, yeah, I want everything. And you were very careful not to be greedy, and you have every reason to be greedy, right? And I just think that is a beautiful, beautiful thing, to never lose humility, to be grateful, and to be kind. And, it's so easy when you grow up not having to be mad, right?
Right.
And actually listening to you and knowing, seeing many students, it's the anger that a lot of times gets in the way of fulfilling potential. And even when you could have gotten super angry about the placement in your living situation, and I remember you would come every Thursday, not Thursday, Tuesdays, confusing the days of my different places I work, and I would say, did you get it? And you're like, no, but it's coming, miss. Like, I was like, damn, I need to learn patience from this woman. Like, and look at you now. Like, I love that you want more, but you're already such an example, and you're doing such beautiful work. And I think for people like listening, patience, gratitude, faith, and that's so hard. Like, it's so easy to say it, but, and I watched you do it with an abundance of grace. That's like a lesson. And I think it's the little things, people always think, well, I don't have money, I don't have this. I think just showing up, you have stuff in your, if people have stuff in there that they're not using furniture, donate it to a good cause. If you can, volunteer someone once a week, somewhere once a week, once a month, and not judge. I listened to your story about your past, and I think society has so much judgment. And how horrible would it have been if people judged you on your past? We would have missed out on this glorious present, right? Like, and so many families, I'm happy that your family didn't give up on you. So many families, when they have someone in addiction or someone who is incarcerated, they're like, well, I'm done, right? And we kind of need to get over that. And you don't erase someone because of their mistakes. I think you say, hey, how can I help you even though you made a mistake, right? And that's hard, because people aren't forgiving. People like to hold grudges, I think, right? Like,
Yes, yes, they get resentful.
yeah.
Especially if it's a parent that's running around in the street and it's like, and your kids are grown, and they start getting resentful, like, like, why are you doing this? You're already in your 40s, 50s, and you're running around like a teenager, wanting to go ahead and hang out and do all kinds of things, and yeah, you feel ashamed and you feel embarrassed, but at the same time, the addiction takes over, and you just lose a sense of reality, and you lose a sense of you lose your morals. Like, as a parent, you go ahead and lose that connection with your family, with your children, and you just go ahead and just put them to the side, and you chase the addiction, and that's where I was at. And I'm just so thankful to God that my children didn't give up on me, even though I wouldn't hide from them, but I would always hope that they wouldn't find me, because I just I just wanted to be alone, and with my addiction. But that's because of my addiction. Like, don't bother me. But because every time they would come, I'd feel shameful. I feel guilty. I start feeling all these feelings of regret, and but I think that was all a plan, God's plan, to go ahead and share my experiences with other young girls and women and mothers that are out there, and in the same situation that I was in. And I just want to let them know that there's hope, and that there's another way, that they have a way out if they choose to go ahead and ask for it, ask for help, to reach out for resources, because the resources are all over, but we just forget that they're there. And we just have to go ahead and take that step, because then it's not going to be done for you. You have to go ahead and also do the footwork, take that step to go ahead and find help, to go ahead and help you change your life.
I love
It
that.
works for me, yes. And
I
this is
loved
where
what you said before, that not to be intimidated by the things that you don't know, not to be intimidated by the fancy people who, that have a language that might be different than yours, and to do the legwork. So because again, that's good advice for everybody. That's good advice for me, right? Like, it's not just good advice but if you would look at younger Maria, 12,
Yes,
14-year-old Maria, who
yes,
was a mess, right? What
yes.
what would be something that you would say to that younger Maria, that young girl, that 12 or 14-year-old Maria? What would be something that you would say to her?
Wow, I've been thinking about this since yesterday, and I would go ahead and embrace her
Mm,
with a loving hug, because the younger Maria felt very lonely, felt very disconnected from her family. She didn't know what love was, or unconditional love from a parent, and that's why the younger Maria, ran and sought that companionship, that family oriented of unity, and so it's like, I would tell her not to get involved with the crowd that that don't want your best interest at heart.
mm,
You know what I mean? And to go ahead and regardless of the situation that you're currently in, or what's currently happening to you, just to go ahead and remember that it's just temporary, that it's not permanent, and that too shall pass.
mm,
You might be going through a traumatic event, you might be going through a hurtful event, because a lot of us experience things when we're little girls that shouldn't have, and that affects us, and we start thinking that that's the way life is, that that's the way it's going to be, and no, it's not. And I just want to let them know that there is help, that if something's happening to you, you can go ahead and reach out for help, to go ahead and go ahead and ask.
love that. I love that. I'm getting really emotional. but it's love, help, ask for help. I think we all need to do that a little bit more. So You're like a preacher, Maria. Today was a we were in church today. That's really, I'm so grateful. And I see your beautiful face every time I walk into Homeboy. And
Yes.
I have pride, even though I didn't do anything. Like you're the one who did it all. But I just have pride and I'm happy. And you are a very big teacher for me. And I think anybody listening today will go away with some really, really amazing lessons. I'm really, really grateful for your time. I know this is your lunch break, and I appreciate you giving me the time and sharing your voice with us, because your voice has power.
Anytime, Naomi. I love you. I have a lot of love for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're
and
welcome.
I want to let you get back to work. I appreciate you, and I'm going to text you a little bit later, okay? Thank you. Thank you for choosing Thursdays in Juvie with Naomi Ackerman in partnership with Advot. I know you have many choices to listen to, and I appreciate you giving us your time today. Time is precious, which is exactly why we must pay attention to individuals, particularly youth, who are serving time. I hope hearing these stories will help you see the youth Advot works with as the amazing humans they are, and not just judge them as random case numbers. Did you enjoy this podcast? If so, please share the podcast from our website, www.advot.org, with your friends, family, and colleagues. We hope you'll join us again, because the more we listen, the better we understand. The better we understand, the more compassion we have. Compassion changes the world. Listening is the first step. In gratitude.